Hello, everyone. Semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. I am super excited today. We have with us Brian from, what's the name of your channel, Brian?
So it's at Wikivore, but the channel name I go by is Wick Goes Carnivore.
Okay. So why don't you go ahead and just take a few moments, introduce yourself, let everybody know what your basic journey is. Tell us all the stuff about the things of who Brian is.
All right. Well, thank you, Bob, for having me on the channel. And so, first of all, I've been doing carnivore for 15 months now, and I have lost 80 pounds. But really, for me, that is probably secondary to a lot of other health related things that have improved or gone away completely by doing the carnivore diet. First of all, I did start with keto. So I kind of eased into things and went into keto, did that for a couple of months, saw a little bit of weight loss, a little bit of improvement in my mood, that kind of thing. But I really was continuing to do research on carnivore and I wanted to move to carnivore. So I went and did that in early July of 2022. So I've been 15 months now carnivore. And going back to before starting keto or carnivore, I had a lot of issues with joint pain, arthritis in my toes. I had high blood pressure. I had AFib, which is a heart condition that your heart starts beating really fast. You go into these AFib episodes and your heart starts beating really fast, then goes back kind of down towards normal and then really fast again and so forth. So I had that. I was having like a couple episodes a week actually with AFib. Um, I had mild depression and I didn't ever really feel like going out and doing things. I had some back pain, just, numerous different things. And most of the things started clearing up within the first couple of months on carnivore. The arthritis, the joint pain was all gone within a couple of months on carnivore, probably in the first month or two, actually. Um, I started to notice that I was feeling more active, had more energy. And that stuff was really within the first couple months. But as I've gone on, it's gotten better and better each month. The mild depression I had was gone, just in a happier mood. And the AFib, I am now pretty much about 14 months without a single episode of AFib. So in that first month, I still had maybe a little bit, but I haven't had a single episode since then. In terms of the blood pressure, my blood pressure is lower. I'm still taking a low dosage medication, but I could be going off of that at some point here in the near future. And the blood pressure is doing really good. Back pain completely gone. That went away really quickly. Probably in the first few weeks, the back pain went away. And then I guess, I talked about the mild depression. I talked about the arthritis in the big toes. That was a big one that I had. I'm at the point now where like I can bang my toe and I don't have any issues. Before carnivore, my foot would swell up, and sometimes it would just do that from just walking a little bit more than normal, and it would swell up to the point that I could barely walk for like a week to 2 weeks at a time. And now if I like bang my toe or something, it might hurt for like a day or so and that's it. There's been no big swell ups or anything like that.
So you started with keto and then transitioned into carnivore. What led you to keto in the first place rather than, like so many people out there, you're looking going, hey, I need to change my diet, I need to do something. Why not go plant-based or some other thing? Maybe the rice diet. What made you, what drew you to keto originally?
So I think to really answer that, I need to go back to 2017. In 2017, I was pretty much the same that I was before starting keto, where I just, had no energy. I was way overweight. I had mild depression. I had pain. I didn't have AFib yet at that point, but I knew I needed to do something because I just, life wasn't going well for me, right? And I found a diet that was a mixture of doing a lot of working out and eating somewhat low carb, but also um, low fat. So low carb and low fat is not a good idea for a diet because you can't sustain it for very long. So it worked at the time, and I lost a lot of weight. And the interesting thing was I still was pretty sore, and like I would work out and I would get really sore working out. Um, I looked ridiculous because I would have like a wrist brace on, an ankle brace, knee brace, so forth. Anytime I was working out because I just would be so sore. But anyways, I lost the weight, and I would say probably within that first year or so, I started to gain the weight back pretty quickly. And then I developed AFib. That's when I developed AFib. So things didn't, while I did lose weight, I didn't get better health wise. And if anything, I got worse. In that diet, it was kind of low carb, but there was a lot of vegetables and stuff that I was eating. So I think that for me, the vegetables kind of were a problem. And when I fast forward now to 2022 and I'm looking at things, and I'm just at that point again where I'm like, I need to do something. My health is really bad. I have kids that are growing up, and I want to be able to, you know, see them and have grandkids and so forth. Right. So definitely for me, going plant-based was not really an option. I felt like I felt worse when I ate more vegetables, and I've always been the type of person that likes eating meat. So I knew some people that were doing keto, and they were doing quite well. So I started looking into things, and I did find Dr. Barry at that point on YouTube and started watching some of his stuff. And I said, yeah, I'm going to start doing keto. But as I was doing that, I kind of evolved because I continued to watch Dr. Barry. I saw more about his proper human diet and how he was going more carnivore based. And I started to find other people that were doing carnivore and so forth. And just with doing the research, that's where I decided to go, fully to no carbs and go carnivore that way.
Okay, let's talk about your AFib for just a moment. I'm assuming that your doctor had you on some medication for that. And so, can you tell us a little bit about that journey? How long did it take the AFib to go away? When did you get off of your medicine, or are you still taking the medicine for that?
Yeah. So when I first got AFib, the very first time, it was in early 2018. And I went almost a year before I got it a second time where I had an episode again. My cardiologist said that it would just start getting worse, didn't put me on medication yet. Around probably 2020, I started to have them a little more frequent. And that's when I had to go in, and they couldn't get me to just go out of the episode. So they had to shock me back into normal sinus rhythm. And that's when they put me on medication. So I went at that point on a blood thinner and a beta blocker. The beta blocker was to lower my heart rate a little bit more. And the blood thinner, of course, is, to help safeguard against stroke, because when you're in an episode, so in your heart area, there's an area that can pool up with blood, and they worry about that clotting and then, breaking off and causing a stroke. So when you're on a blood thinner, that area doesn't pool up with blood and clot. So I was on that as of around 2020 or so. And at this point, I am still on the blood thinner. I go back to the cardiologist in about a month. But going back to just 6 months ago when I met with him last, he was really happy with where things have been, the weight loss, and that I hadn't had an episode and so forth. So we started talking then about potentially going off of the blood thinner when I go back in a month, the question is going to be whether or not I've lost enough weight that he's confident that the risk is low enough of stroke and going into, another episode. Um, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. So I'm hoping that a month from now I will get off the blood thinner. If not, I might have to go another 6 months, just because the higher the risk of going into an AFib episode is, the higher the risk of a potential stroke, and so they want to keep you on that blood thinner for that reason. I'm 49, almost 50 years old, so I'm rather young for AFib. So it's not like he would want me to be on a blood thinner forever type of thing, right? Because there's other consequences to that. And we'll just have to see. Hopefully, I'm going to be at a low enough weight that he's going to feel comfortable with it. And I mean, I could just say, hey, I need to go off the blood thinner at this point, but I want to be patient because I also know that, there is that potential risk. So I don't want to do something that could put me at that risk, even though it has been over a year since I've had an episode. I still always have that fear that it's going to come on again at some point, right? Like if maybe I just have a bad time and I eat some carbs that I shouldn't eat, I always wonder, like, is that going to cause me to go into an episode again? So that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, blood thinners are kind of a drag because I was on a blood thinner for quite some time after my heart surgery, and I actually just got off of them this spring, and now I don't have the shruff because I've never been able to find an electric razor that I like. But I had to get rid of the regular razors because if you nick yourself while you're on a blood thinner, it can bleed for decades, it feels like. So is that why you've got the beard and the mustache going on, or have you always had that?
It is a combination of that is one thing. And then I guess I've had it for a few years now. Probably right around the time though that I did go on the blood thinners about when I started doing that. And yeah, that is definitely part of it, but I don't know. It's kind of become a staple for me. So
You have done all of this. Now, I have always said that just wanting to get healthier is not a good enough reason to make you stick with anything, carnivore diet, keto, whatever you happen to be doing. So, do you mind talking about your why a little bit? Tell us why you're doing this.
yeah, I completely agree with that. You have to have a really good why for doing it. For me, it really comes down to wanting to watch my children grow up and have children of their own, be a grandparent, be able to provide for my family and my wife, and be able to grow old with my wife and at some point retire from working and get to go out and have good experiences with my wife and still be healthy and healthy enough to actually have those experiences. So it's that whole big picture there of family. um, that my children, I've got 3 kids, they're all now in college, and so it's good for me. I feel so much better than I did just 2 years ago, and we've done some visiting, some moving out to go visit them and so forth, because they're all kind of away at college right now and stuff. So we've done some visiting with them, and this is something like really a couple years ago, I would have probably been like, "Yeah, I really, do we have to go see them again?" That type of thing, because I just never wanted to do anything. I just wanted to lay on the couch or sit on the couch and watch TV. And now I'm always excited to go out and do things and to see them again. And I've helped them move and going up 2 or 3 flights of steps, for their apartments or whatever. It's been no problem for me, and that's been a blessing. And I look at, at some point here in the more near future, like 5 to 10 years, they're going to have kids. So I'm going to be a grandparent, and I'm going to feel healthy enough to get on the ground and play with those kids. So that's really my why.
So you mentioned that back when you were going to the gym, you'd have an ankle brace and a knee brace and all of the braces all over your body. Are you still going to the gym, or are you doing other things for movement? Tell us what a daily routine for Brian is for getting planned movement in.
Yeah, so in the first probably 7, 8 months or so of carnivore, I was a little more active with doing things like lifting weights and stuff like that. Um, and I would take some walks like in the evening, just around the neighborhood and so forth. But the big thing was like lifting weights. And the big thing for me is I no longer had to wear any of those braces. Didn't have any problems lifting weights. Um, and like the other thing I noticed is the next day I was not sore like I used to be after lifting weights. Now, I will say that in the last 4 or 5 months or so, I've gotten a little, I've slacked off, I guess is the way to say it, with the working out. So I haven't worked out that much. I still get some walking in when I can. I just been a little bit busier with things going on with the family and the kids, going away to college and stuff that I haven't worked out like I used to. So I do need to get back into doing that again because I think that helped me to feel a little bit better as well. But yeah, even before though, I would say really quickly into carnivore, probably in the first month or so, I noticed the difference that I no longer had to wear like the knee braces and the wrist brace and so forth because I just wasn't, it wasn't hurting and I wasn't sore anymore.
Everybody always wants to know. I don't understand the fascination with it, but I'm going to ask the question anyway because it's one of the things that everybody seems to like. What's a day of eating look like for Brian? Go ahead and walk us through what a normal day of eating would look like for you.
Yeah, so I'll go with what's happening right now because it's definitely changed over 15 months, right? But right now I'm eating twice a day and it's kind of that intermittent fasting where I'll eat like in a 6 hour window and then there will be 18 hours of intermittent fasting. So I typically eat somewhere between like noon, 1 p.m. That'll be my first meal, and that's usually my biggest meal. Most of the time, it's going to be some kind of beef, whether it's like ribeye or New York strip or chuck steaks or chuck roast, that kind of thing. And then typically around 6 p.m. or so, 6 to 7 p.m., I'll have a second meal and that could be maybe a couple of hamburger patties, just the burger patties, beef burger patties, or it could be like sometimes I'll have like a pound of bacon or something. Sometimes I'll have chicken wings or chicken thighs with the skin on them, that kind of thing. Occasionally I'll have pork, but most of the time it's going to be beef or potentially chicken wings or chicken thighs. um, Maybe once a week I'll have a couple eggs, so I don't eat a lot of eggs. But of course I do have the bacon, which is pork, I guess, but I'll usually have that a few times a week. But yeah, I would say most of the time it is beef. Now, the interesting thing is when I first started this 15 months ago, I didn't even know if I could eat just twice a day. Like I thought like that would be really hard to do, but I found that I could do it and I was eating twice a day. Then probably a good 6, 7 months in, I got down to OMAD and was eating one meal a day. At that point, I was mostly eating somewhere between like a 20 to a 24-ounce steak every day. Maybe I'd add a little bacon or eggs or something in with that. And I would eat that one time and then that would be it. And I did that for probably a couple of months. And then as I got into midsummer this year, I went back to the eating twice a day. It seems like as I've gone on here and gotten past a year, I'm actually more hungry than I used to be. So I don't know if that's because I'm getting closer to a goal weight or something. And, I don't know, but I hear that from a lot of people that after a while, they seem to get hungrier and eat a little bit more than they used to on the diet.
Yeah, that's really interesting because that's almost the exact same schedule I've been on. Because I started off At 3 meals a day, it quickly went to 2 meals a day. And then I was 1 meal a day for probably 9 or 10 months. But just since I've gotten home this summer and doing so many things between, yard work and cutting the grass and working out 4 days a week at the Y and all of the things, I'm back eating twice a day because I just can't physically eat enough to stay satiated with everything I'm burning. But we are here to talk about you, not here to talk about me. So the burning question I have is, what in the heck made you want to start a YouTube channel?
So that's a good question. So I will go back first of all to when I was probably like a month or two into the carnivore diet. I ran into Dave Mack's channel. I forget, No Carb Life, I think it's called, or something like that. And he was, at that point, he was really just getting started with his channel because he's just a couple months ahead of me in doing carnivore. And he didn't start right away until he was a few months in. But anyway, when I found that channel, for some reason, I could really relate to him pretty well. And I think also part of it was that I knew he was just slightly ahead of me in the diet, and I would probably be experiencing some of the things that he would be talking about as I got, over the next month or two. So I really watched this channel a lot, and there were some other channels too, but I got a lot of inspiration from them. And then as I got into spring of this year, so I guess it was like April time frame, I kind of said, I've been doing this, I guess I was probably around 9 months or so, and things have been going really well. And I think it would be good to share my story out there. There's a lot of different people that are doing that, and I think it would be good to share my story. So that was part of it. The other thing was that I really wanted to promote the carnivore diet so that it was getting out there to more people. So as I started kind of doing shorts videos, and I did a lot of shorts talking about other YouTube channels that were for carnivore, and just promoting them. And I think maybe a few weeks later, I did like my first video talking about myself and my journey. And it seemed to go pretty well. Like, people were subscribing and so forth. So it kind of evolved from there. I guess maybe 3 months or so in, I decided that I would start doing some collaborations with some other people. And so I did some collaborations and did a couple of live streams, and things seemed to go well. I seemed to really like it. And for me, it's a really good feeling when you talk about your experiences, and like AFib is a big one with this for me. And somebody comes on the channel and says, you know what, I watched your video, I have same problem or whatever, and I'm starting the diet. Or they said, you know what, I watched your video, I started doing something that you were doing there, and it's helped me in this way. To me, that's so gratifying. So that's really why I've been doing it. And at this point, I just plan on continuing to do it and see where it goes from there.
You can't swing a dead cat on YouTube right now and not bump into a new carnivore channel, but that's okay with me because I believe everybody is searching for somebody that they can connect with. I tend to connect with the older crowd. Most of the 35 and 40 somethings, the people that are about your age, they don't want to listen to an old retired truck driver. And that's why I think everybody that has any kind of a story should tell that story, because you never know who's listening and who the next person is that's going to find somebody that they can go, oh, wow, that guy had AFib. Just like you said, I didn't even realize that was a thing that could be fixed with carnivore. So right now you are sitting in front of my audience. The floor is yours. whatever it is I've forgotten to ask you, or whatever your message is that you'd like to tell them, take however much time you like and just tell my people what you think they should know about Brian.
The big thing for me is that I really want to help grow this grassroots effort, right? To me, this is a grassroots effort. It's the best way it's going to get out there, because the the industry is just backwards, right? Like that there's so much going against this type of a diet. Everybody's saying that, cholesterol is bad, eating a lot of meat is bad, and so forth. So it's a grassroots effort. And I think in a grassroots effort, something that is good is not just having the doctors that we have, but the people like you and me that are doing the diet and have improved our lives and our health and so forth. And the more of those people out there that can give their testimonials and talk about how this diet has changed their life, I think is the better. And the more people we're going to get to see all of those testimonials and be like, yeah, there's really something to this. I need to look into this as well. So for me, that's huge. Like I've been doing a lot of live streams with other people that are YouTube creators, and some of them have been rather new. I do tend to seek out some of the people that are newer on the carnivore diet, or at least with their channel, just to help them kind of get started. I'm still getting started myself. I mean, I think I've got like 750 subscribers, so it's not like it's a big channel or anything like that, right? It's a rather small channel, but there's people out there that I've belonged to some communities with, and I see them doing what they can to lose weight, and then they get inspired and they create a YouTube channel, and they put out a couple of videos. They've got like 10 subscribers, and I reach out to them and try and get them some more viewership and get them motivated more, because that whole grassroots effort is just gonna keep getting better with more people that we've got out there promoting it. And a lot of times I'll help them get started. We'll do an interview or something on my channel, or we'll do live streams together. And that's something that I've been getting a lot of joy from too, is just helping some of these other people that want to share their stories. So I think, those kinds of things are huge for me. Again, like I said, anytime that I hear that my video helps somebody, like just the other day, I had a video out that somebody replied back, and they were like, there was so much good information in this video, and it's where I'm kind of at in my journey right now. And to me, that was great. Like I even told one of the new people that we had a live stream with a few days ago, I told them, even if only one person watches this video and benefits from it, it's worth it. And to me, that's it right there, right? Anybody you can help, you can just help one person, that's worth it. I think I've seen you have videos where you talk about the 1% every day, right? Well, that one person could be that 1% every day, that 1% from that video that just helps them. It helps them. Obviously, they're going to get healthier because of it. And it helps to get the grassroots effort out there, so more and more people are seeing what the carnivore diet can do for you. And for me, that's really kind of been the mission. I have a pretty decent job that I do. So I'm not in this like for money or anything like that. I'm just here to promote the diet, talk about my experiences and how things have worked out for me. And believe me, it's been life changing for me. The whole AFib thing is just huge for me. I felt like, I was always worried that I would do something that would stress my heart too much, and I would go into an episode. And then if you go into an episode, your life kind of stops at that moment until you can get out of that episode. And sometimes that's a day or more for me. And you can't really do anything. You have to worry Like if your heart rate or your blood pressure is getting too high, you had to worry about potentially getting into the stroke range if you got up. So like there were times I'd have to go to the hospital, and until they could get me out of it, they didn't even want me getting out of bed. So it's been completely life-changing for me. And I just hope that I can help other people out with my experiences, my story, and, like I said, also helping them to encourage them to share their experiences and their story.
Okay, well, before I let you go, Brian, I know you've got a YouTube channel, and this is where I will put everything underneath your picture here. Go ahead and tell us all about the places we can find you. Do you just have a YouTube channel, or do you do Facebook, Instagram? Tell us all the places on social media we can find you.
Yeah, so I do have a Facebook page. It's Wick Goes Carnivore is the Facebook page. I have Twitter. That is actually, I believe, at my name, Brian Nowicki. I have Instagram, which is brian.nowicki. And I guess that's it. YouTube is my preferred method because it's easier to do videos and do live streams and relate to people that way. So I will post a lot of my YouTube videos on Facebook or Twitter or something to come back to YouTube, that type of thing. So yeah, I think that covers it.
Okay, well, everybody, be sure and get down in the comments and thank Brian for his time, because everybody's time is valuable. I want to thank you for being here today, Brian. It's been fantastic talking to you. Don't forget, everybody, get out there, be 1% better today, tomorrow, every day. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you in the next one.